It's that time again, except it's not really again because we don't usually start at this time. But here we are. It is Matt Connarton Unleashed. And yes, we are live on this Monday, May 24, 2021. So doing something a little bit different today. Typically, as you will know, I am live 4 to 6 p.m. I had a bit of a snafu earlier, and so today I am live. I'm still doing 2 hours, but I am live instead from 5 to 7 p.m. Jenny and I had to go to, I'm sure she'll be on the show later, and she'll say as much as she wants to about it, but I'll say this much. We had to go to a medical appointment and in the Portsmouth area, and normally we would be back in plenty of time. This has never been an issue before, but things got a little sideways today. And so that's why at one point I had to post, I'm not going to be able to do the show today. Would have been the first time that's happened where, there was in the little over 4 years that I've been here, there's been a couple of instances where I haven't, I think I was sick one time, and there was another time there was a terrible snowstorm, and they hadn't plowed. They weren't plowing in my neighborhood yet. It's incredibly rare that anything like that happens. And it was the first time that the scenario that played out today had ever happened. So it's kind of unprecedented, but it's nobody's fault. It's just kind of the way the dice tumbled. But I realized, it got to a point where I was like, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. So that's why I posted on Facebook that, no live show today, enjoy the best of. And then, and I communicated to Peter White, for those who don't know, and most of you probably have no idea, but Peter is not only the morning show host here at WMNH, but he's also the program director. So when something comes up, I contact Peter, and he's always very helpful. And, at first I told him, I said, I'm not going to be able to be live today. And I kind of explained what was going on, and of course he was very understanding. And the way the system works here, if for some reason I don't show up, a best of automatically plays. So if you did tune in at 4 p.m., what you heard, of course, was the best of Matt Connarton Unleashed. But then it became apparent later that I would be able to be here at least to do the second hour, 5 to 6, and if I was going to do that, because I didn't want to just come running in whenever I got here. It's got to be at the top of the hour. Otherwise, it's just weird. And then Peter said, well, actually, if you want to still do 2 hours, you can go 5 to 7 today, because there's not another live show on right after me. So I said, great. So thank you to Peter for working with me on that. So we will be here for a full 2 hours today. Just everything's, pretend, if you're listening, pretend we just went through a time change and we had to leap ahead an hour. I don't know, or fall back an hour, whatever it would be. Anyway, so that's what happened. So, a very special Matt Connarton Unleashed today for the first time ever from 5 to 7 p.m. Not that we've never gone to 7. There was one other time a few months ago where something happened where I remember Peter texting me. I remember it was a Thursday, and he said, hey, you can go to 7 if you want. I don't remember what the reason was, but I did a 3-hour show once, which was fun. But anyway, so here we are. So we are here. We're just beginning, even though this would normally be the start of the second hour, and we will be here until 7 p.m. in the Eastern time zone, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you all, and thank you for your patience, and everything's fine, and, don't worry. So we are here, of course, from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire, also on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester, streaming at WMNHradio.org and on the Facebook on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. And, of course, you can also go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all your live streaming options and social media links and email addresses and phone numbers and contact info. And hello to our friends at Raw Talk Online, of course. And we have our first call today. For all I know, this person was trying to call during the first hour and couldn't get through. We'll see who this is. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this? Hello?
Hello, hey, it's Eazy-G.
Oh, Eazy-G, I'm sorry to wake you.
I can barely hear you.
I said I'm sorry to wake you. Were you having a nice stream?
What?
Were you having a nice stream? I didn't mean to wake you with my show. Did I wake you up?
No, I can barely hear you at all.
I can barely hear you at all.
Let me call you back.
Call me back. I don't know. You can always Skype in. Eric, if you're still listening, feel free to Skype in. I'll turn on the Skype, the old Skype machine, the Skypeinator, I think it's called. I think that's the official term if you're trying to order it on Amazon. So there you go. Eazy-G, our entertainment reporter. But yes, feel free to give us a call. Maybe you can beat Eric to the phone. Who knows? 603-250-6007. 603-250-6007. You can text me at 617-917-4476. Hello, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
It's Eazy-G again, boy. I tried to put my call volume up, and I can't hear you that well at all.
Wow. What if I yell really loud? I'm yelling now. Now can you hear me? I'm yelling really loud. I'm actually screaming into the microphone.
Hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, it's coming in better now.
Oh, good. Well, that's because I'm yelling really loud and I'm using a megaphone. I'm actually
sometimes
holding...
with these cell phones. I got this new cell phone, so
I don't know if you can
cell
tell.
Phones, they go in and out.
I don't know if you can tell, but I'm actually holding a megaphone up to the microphone.
All right.
Yeah, that's why I'm so loud now.
Oh, your beginning of the show, did I hear that Jenny will not be there today or later on?
Jenny will not be here today. I'm sure she'll join us at some point during the week, but she will not be here today.
Oh, all right. I know she's usually there on Mondays, but I figured today was a mixed-up Monday. So
mixed up. Isn't that a song? Isn't that the Bangles? Just another
she's usually there
mixed-up
on Monday. I was thinking of a song. I logged on to my Facebook page. I didn't really look at it much on Sunday, and I saw that
you should look at it every day.
Katie Dobbins won Album of the Year.
I saw that for There Is Light, I believe is the name of the album.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
good for
I
her.
Facebooked her earlier today, and I said, wow. I said, you got the Matt Connarton bump. So she Facebooked me back. I said, what's that all about? I said, well, he says that on his show when someone makes an appearance on your show, and you get some good news later on, and you get the Matt Connarton bump.
Here's how it works, Eazy-G. It's really a very simple process, in fact, and feel free to explain this to her if she needs more clarification.
Well, I think she understands.
It's really just 2 steps. Step 1, come on the show. Step 2, stardom.
Yeah, that was really good news, though.
Yes.
That was great.
Yes. Well,
she wasn't even physically on the show, but she called on the phone.
Yes.
This is good.
This is how you are able to help these artists become successful by booking them onto my show, Eazy-G. This is how Amanda McCarthy became so famous, and now Katie Dobbins. You're like a Svengali.
Yeah, she came on the show before a while back.
Yes, but you weren't here for that one, so that one doesn't count.
True. Yeah, there you go. Maybe that has to be the connection. Yeah, true. Mm-hmm. There you go. So good news in this world of always bad news, it seems. So that was great news.
Right. Yes. There is a lot of bad news.
I know you sent me that Facebook message the other day, but I don't know why so many people are complaining. I mean, it's wrestling. You know, the backlash there, I know it's old news for a lot of people. But
what are people complaining
when they
about?
had all those dead,
zombies
tended to be dead coming to the ring there.
Yeah, Jenny and I haven't watched that yet. The zombies invading the ring.
Oh, zombies. I couldn't think of the word. Yeah. People get all angry. It's wrestling, you know?
People are very angry, yes. Some people are just
But apparently
furious.
now, what became of that is that the Miz is injured now, and he might be out for a while. He tore a muscle or something.
Yeah. Well.
So they don't know how serious it is yet, but it could be out a year.
He could be. Yeah. What did you say was his injury?
Tore an ACL or something.
Okay. Yeah, that'll put you
I
out
don't know if we
for...
could blame the zombies for that, or I don't know.
Well, you can't blame everything on the undead, Eazy-G, and I try to tell you that, and you just don't listen.
Yeah, one thing I'm not happy about is it's okay, they're going back to the live shows, but the for the first show on July 16th, I read that I Facebooked on the show. I said, I hope it doesn't happen. The guy's too old. John Cena coming back. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you don't like it when the old guys come back.
As he says on his promotion, his time is now, but his time is gone.
Well, maybe his time still is now. He probably still uses that song. Eric, he's not that old. He's 44. And look at him. Look at the condition that he's in. You think really think he's too old?
He's doing all the Hollywood stuff now. So, give time to the new guys.
Yeah, but,
I like that Damian Priest guy there, and they're giving a push for him now. And
yeah.
There was a new guy who wears a lot of tattoos. He came out Friday and disturbed one of the guys' matches.
Aleister Black?
So they're trying to, Adronia Black or somebody.
Oh, we have a question.
I think he's been around before.
We have a very important question for you, Eazy-G, in the Facebook live chat.
Yes.
Tom Blanchard says, "Hey, Easy, how come you unfriended me?"
Who?
Tom Blanchard. Why would you unfriend Tom Blanchard? He's a very nice man.
Oh, yeah, he probably is, but I just unfriended a lot of people that I didn't really know in the real world. I made a couple exceptions, but...
Oh, so you were...
I looked at my Facebook friends a while back and said, well, I don't really know these people, so...
Well, I think you should...
Nothing personal.
I think you should refriend Tom Blanchard. He's one of your biggest supporters of your entertainment report, Eazy-G. I mean, not on the same level as Scott Robinson.
Sometimes it's hard to send a request, so have him send me one.
Yes, Tom, please friend request Eazy-G, and he will accept it.
And I'll accept it.
He is committed to accepting your friend request, which I think is wonderful. And that's really what this show is about, Eazy-G, is bringing people together.
Yeah, he did a good job on Friday there.
Thank you. Yes, I should have been a diplomat or a professional mediator or perhaps a couples counselor.
Nothing good about that disagreement, but hopefully now they can just move on.
If you missed Friday's show, I was able to successfully negotiate a peace accord, if you will, between Christian Lacoste and Tony D. It is a fragile peace, I think, because neither of them seem really that happy at the end of it, but they have agreed to squash the beef.
Yeah, that's great news.
Yes, it is great news. I'm relieved.
Too many beefs out there.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The fighting makes for interesting radio, but at the same time, when it's your friends, it's kind of like watching your parents fight.
Yeah, it was funny because they were promoting those summer shows where they have all the game shows and they tape them all, months ahead. So it's all in the can. Mm-hmm. And one of these shows says the announcer says, when the announcer or the person says, "You want to get down and dirty."
Oh, my goodness. Is that where you got that?
I was laughing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. Someone stole my catchphrase.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't even hear what the rest of that sentence was because you started
laughing.
There.
This time I'm going to bring my glasses, and I haven't picked up the report in a couple of weeks.
Uh-huh.
But I'm going to go over it tomorrow and get it all worked out. So I was thinking of coming by on Thursday to your show, if that's okay.
That would be grand.
Yeah, because I still felt kind of embarrassed that I didn't bring my glasses. So
I remember that. Now, I thought you did fine, Eazy-G. It's very important to be able to improvise and to work off the cuff if you don't have something with you.
My main entertainment was Katie Dobbins coming on, so I'm glad she came, and then now she got the album of the year. So.
She came on, you wept. She got album of the year.
That's great news.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think it was on virtual. I don't think she actually went to the event.
Right, yes. That's
I could be wrong.
What I saw online. It looked like it was...
She said it's going to be on YouTube or something. I don't think she was physically there.
Looked like it was a virtual event. Yes.
What?
Yeah, it did appear to be a virtual event from what I read as well. That is the information that I gleaned from what I saw online as well, Eazy-G. We're in agreement on that.
Right.
We're in agreement.
Yeah, no beef in there.
Now, let me ask you this, Eric. Now, after what you witnessed on Friday and my amazing, if I do say so myself, diplomatic skills, is there anyone that you have beef with where you would like me to mediate something? Perhaps I can help.
Not at the moment, no. I'm going to try to keep it that way.
All right. Well, can you keep it that way for long,
I've had plenty of beef.
You've had a lot of beef, Eazy-G. A lot of beef.
Yeah. Too many, so I'm gonna try not to go beefing.
Big
with
mouthfuls
anybody.
of beef.
That I'm gonna try not to do. I'm not getting promises, but
All right. You're sure there's no one you're currently beefing with? You and Jeff Nyan are on good terms?
We seem to be good now, yeah.
Seem to be.
I think he's going to be on the show tomorrow.
But that can collapse at any moment. Yes, Christian Lacoste will be on the morning show tomorrow as well.
Yeah, so that'll be, that's what I heard, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, so I'll see you on Thursday. I'll work to whip up my entertainment report. Oh, yeah, Scott Robinson's listening. I got a whole mess of new Amanda McCarthy dates.
You got a mess of Amanda McCartney dates for
a couple of them,
Scott Robinson.
June, yeah. I Facebooked the other day, so don't see any messenger. I said, don't see any gigs coming up. She goes, I haven't put them on the Facebook yet. So 2 days later, there they were.
You would think she would have given them to you first. I mean, you are the entertainment reporter, and you are responsible for all of her success.
Yeah, she's doing fairly well for herself, yeah.
Mm-hmm. More than fairly, I would say. I think she's doing great, and I think she owes it all to you. I hope she sends you a gift basket.
Well, I'd like to take some credit. Most of the credit has to go to her because she has to go out there and sing and perform. And
well, how much?
It was funny the Getting By performers there. I haven't watched it the last couple weeks, but American Idol's all done and buried.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that won, I don't know if he's going to get anywhere in life, but I hope he does. But he won, and he also wrote his song that he sang last night for the American Idol winner. So more power to him that he can write and sing.
Oh yes.
Because a lot of performers don't know how to do that. But Amanda McCarthy can sing, she can songwrite, and all that fun stuff. I mean, she was the 2019 Songwriter of the Year.
Right.
And they can't take that away.
Well, they can. They actually could. With cancel culture, you can take anything away at any time.
Oh, yeah, true.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep, they could take that away. They could revoke it. Yep. I hope she stays on the straight and narrow. Walks that line.
We'll clear the air in case we'll clear the conversation in case Ron wants to call.
We'll have to look at her past tweets, make sure there's nothing there. You should do that.
All righty.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk to you later.
All right, Eazy-G. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, the great Eazy-G, Eric Gagnon. He will be with us on Thursday with his glasses and ready to do his entertainment report. We have a great guest for Friday as well booked, but I'll tell you about that later. Someone Jenny connected with who I'm really looking forward to talking with. But that does open up a line for you, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can also text us at 617-917-4476. Tweet me at Matt Connarton or send an email to matt@mattconnerton.com. So you have a myriad of ways to get in touch. You can always interact and opine in the Facebook live chat, but the best thing to do so that we can hear and enjoy your dulcet tones is to give us a call at 603-250-6007. If you're just joining us, today is a highly unusual edition of Matt Connarton Unleashed. We are going 5 to 7 today instead of the usual 4 to 6 because something prevented me from getting here on time. But Peter White said I could do 5 to 7 today. So we are doing that. So we are here for the full 2 hours. So welcome, everyone. Nice to have you with me. By the way, I do want to remind you, of course, we are proudly sponsored by the Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan at 1000 Elm Street, right across the street. Don't go there today. Monday and Tuesday is their weekend. But they are open Wednesday through Sunday. They have delicious gourmet pretzels. They have craft beer. They have wine. They have board games. They have trivia night on Thursday nights. Friday night, the great Grant Lampton plays there. He's doing a residency there. He's there every Friday. They have Sunday brunch. They have some exciting things planned for Juneteenth. Coming up the weekend of June 19th. So we'll be talking more about that in the coming weeks. And hopefully we can get Kenny and Trudy in here on a Monday or Tuesday in studio. We haven't had them in studio in a long time. You know, we've opened that back up somewhat now that Jenny and I are both fully vaccinated and have been for a spell. But, so we look forward to that. So the Hop Knot, such a wonderful place, great food, great service, and a wonderful family that owns and operates it. The Hop Knot on Elm is what they officially call it, right across the street. And we're very honored and privileged to have them as a sponsor. Also, I see Mike Pelopita in the Facebook live chat. Mike, of course, from another one of the wonderful sponsors here at WMNH 95.3 FM, Queen City Cabinetry in the historic Sunbeam Mall. And don't forget, of course, CGI Business Solutions, the OG of WMNH sponsors. They've been here from the very beginning. So we appreciate them as well. Let's see. I wanted to mention, too, and in a moment we'll say hello to everybody in the Facebook live chat. But speaking of communicating with people, I communicated with my father earlier, and I hope Crazy Joe is listening. Now, I don't think we'll see Crazy Joe in the Facebook live chat because I believe he got a 30-day Facebook suspension that he is still serving. However, Crazy Joe, if you are streaming the audio from New York where you live, streaming online, I hope you hear this. Crazy Joe is a bit of a divisive personality. Some people like him. Some people can't stand him. He's one of those folks. As we learned one day, for example, in the Facebook live chat, Brian Mackey from Idaho, not a fan of Crazy Joe, does not like Crazy Joe, but Mike Pelopita, one of our wonderful sponsors from Queen City Cabinetry, said that he does like Crazy Joe and enjoys him. I think they've even spoken directly on the phone. So, opinions will vary on all these different characters that come and go. But you know who apparently is a big fan of Crazy Joe, perhaps an even bigger fan of Mike Pelopita, and this surprised me a little bit. And by the way, before I say this is not a bit. I'm not saying this to be funny. This is 100% true. My father, Martin Connarton, is a big fan of Crazy Joe. He really enjoys Crazy Joe. And so Crazy Joe, if you're listening, I hope you hear this. I want you to know that my dad is a big fan of yours and enjoys your calls into the show. I think he's a little concerned because, you are crazy. I mean, obviously, it's legit. It's not just a bit that you do. It's right there in your name. I don't think you're legally allowed to have the name Crazy in your name if you're not actually crazy. I think there's legislation about that or something. I'm not sure. But anyway, so Crazy Joe, you have a fan in my dad. And so congratulations. You've won over my father for real. He really enjoys Crazy Joe. Anyway, all right, we'll say hello to everybody in the Facebook live chat. It is so weird starting at 5 today. It's freaking me out, but I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity to do that. Actually, we will not say hello to everybody in the Facebook live chat quite yet because we do have a call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, it's Eazy-G calling back real quick. Hey, the next time Crazy Joe calls, you can tell please that I dedicated one of my entertainment reports to him a while back. You'll probably get a kick out of that.
I had forgotten all about that. Wow. Okay.
If you remember. If you don't, well, don't worry about it.
Well, okay. Well, I'll do my best, Eazy-G. I have a pretty good memory. Yeah,
it's good that he's back in the fold because he didn't exactly leave in the best of circumstances when he said, "You get me a job at that studio."
Well, sometimes he makes videos where he's very angry, but I think that's just because he's crazy. He's Crazy Joe.
Right. Leave it to Peter White to make that little thing on the show.
Yeah. Well, you know how those New Yorkers are.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they're all crazy, are they?
Yes, they're all exactly like Crazy Joe.
Oh, all right. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Eazy-G. Thank you for the call. Bye-bye. Tom Blanchard in the chat says, I also like Crazy Joe. He's a blast. Yeah, well, here's the this is the bit of audio that Eric was referring to.
But I didn't make the rules. I just play the game. So don't hate the player. Hate the game. And with that said... You like that one? Let me tell you something. You get me a job at that station.
There you go. It's Crazy Joe. All right, let's say hello to everybody in the Facebook live chat. Christian Lacoste, first one in today. Hello, Christian. Mike Palapita joins us. Of course, Mike, I mentioned from Queen City Cabinetry. Hello, Mike. Michael Martineau, better known as Texas Mike, is in the chat room and says good afternoon. Abdulbagi Hamad joins us. Hello. It says good afternoon, everyone. I apologize for continuing to mispronounce your name, as I sure I am. Christian says, history has been made. Yes, my first time ever doing the show, 5 to 7. Wayne Noel, who is a top fan all the way from Michigan, joins us and says, afternoon and happy Monday, everyone. Let's see. DJ Midas is a top fan and says, hi, guys. Midas, of course, part of the WMNH family, host of Late Night Delight, which you can hear every Saturday night from 12 midnight to 4 a.m. with a replay on Sundays, 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. And Midas, of course, has the big coming up on, I don't have it in front of me. Midas, forgive me. Post it in there if you can. At Central Ale House on the patio, I believe. Beginning Memorial Day weekend, Midas will be there. Jenny and I are going to get to that to support, but I think it's going to be every weekend for the summer, if I'm not mistaken. I apologize, I don't have that in front of me, Midas, but if you want to drop it in there, I'll into the chat room, I'll make sure everyone hears it. Tom Blanchard, I mentioned, is in the chat and says, yes, he will friend Eazy-G. Christian Lacoste says, I'd call it a ceasefire, referring to the peace accord, the treaty that I negotiated between Christian Lacoste and Tony D on Friday. I dare say my greatest foreign policy achievement thus far. I think they should go ahead and send me to the Middle East. I mean, look, Jared Kushner, he tried, but I might be the guy who can actually get it done. I don't know how hard he actually tried, but Miriam Banish is a top fan in the chat room. Hello, Miriam. Let's see. Oh, Christian says, I got 2 more shows booked for Memorial Day weekend. Yeah, Christian did both Saturday and Sunday night this past weekend at the 603 Bar and Grill, the former Panucci's, right up the street here on Elm Street. He's doing great. He's doing a lot of DJ gigs and really, really doing awesome. Tom says, I hope you make it to the WMNH get-together at the Hop Knot. Date to be announced soon. Yes, that'll be wonderful. Looking forward to that. It's cool to be able to do stuff like that again. Living the Vax life. Vax, V-A-X. Trying to hashtag that and get it trending or something. I don't know. Joe Friday says, hello, boys. I was wondering what happened to you. You're wondering what happened to me? Why I wasn't on at 4? Or you were wondering what happened to Eazy-G? Why he's just like that because he's Eazy-G. Joe Friday says, just be advised, I am not Crazy Joe. I'm Joe Weekday. I feel like Joe. It's giving me a bad reputation. Miriam says, I want to go to the Hop Knot. My husband and I are both fully vaccinated now. Excellent. Excellent. Congratulations, Miriam. Tom says, me too. Joe Friday says, I am from New York, Long Island. I hope I'm not crazy. Well, you're probably not, because if you were, then you would have to call yourself Crazy Joe Friday, I guess, or Joe Crazy or something. You couldn't call yourself Crazy Joe because there's already a Crazy Joe. He probably has it trademarked. So anyway, let's see. Yeah, trying to adjust my brain to this time thing. Let me give the numbers again quickly, and then we have some stuff we can get into. We always have stuff to get into. It is a very, very busy world. Always many, many things going on. But 603-250-6007 is the number if you'd like to call us. 603-250-6007. You can also text me at 617-917-4476. And we have a call. Oh, nobody there. Okay. Very good. Oh, just quickly, I meant to get to this last week, and we just never got to it. This is a very, very quick thing. Oh, phone's ringing. Hang on. Oh, I hear something. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
It's Hoppy.
John Hopwood, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine. Hey, what are you doing on at 5 o'clock to 7?
Had a little problem getting here for 4 o'clock. Jenny and I had to go to a medical appointment in Portsmouth, and things went much later than they are supposed to. Hello? What'd you drop your phone?
So it's not permanent.
No, it's just for today.
Oh, I'm in a car and I can barely hear you. Oh, I just thought there was some type of shift.
No.
Okay. I was just a little confused.
Yes.
By the way, I hear that Joe Friday is actually a woman and a local person, too, and one that's relatively well-known.
Ooh.
But since I can't hear you, I'm going to sign off since I am driving.
Bye.
Take care.
Okay.
Jenny.
Oh, I will. Bye-bye. All right. John Hopwood leaves us. This is, there's a gentleman named, I'm going to do a couple quick radio-esque things before we get into any political issues. There's a guy named Dave LaGreca, and he hosts a show on SiriusXM satellite radio called Busted Open. And the call with Eazy-G, the first one where he mentioned the zombies, how they recently used zombies on WWE during a pay-per-view event. They put zombies into a storyline. It was to co-promote a zombie movie. This guy, Dave LaGreca, who's a radio host, he had a meltdown on Sirius. And there's swears in the original clip, but what I'm going to play for you, the swears are all bleeped out. But it's just kind of fun because Eazy-G mentioned how people were really upset. Wait till you hear how upset Dave LaGreca was about the zombies. It's a short clip. So if you don't care about this, just hang in with me. But even if you're not a wrestling fan, this is still fun to listen to how this particular wrestling fan in this clip reacted to zombies being used in a wrestling match. Whoops.
What in that ring during that match between Damian Priest, who just came up from NXT and I think is a future superstar. The Miz, who's a former world champion, deserves more than pretending to get eaten by zombies in a ring. Everybody loves to bring up the Shockmaster. Everybody loves bringing up RoboCop. Everybody loves to bring up David Arquette. Well, guess what? WCW is dead. Why? Because of those instances. And 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65 years from now, people are going to be talking about that fucking that I had to pay to watch at WrestleMania Backlash, where fucking zombies are attacking the wrestlers, and Adnan Virk is explaining to me what a zombie is.
So there you go. It goes on from there, but I'll share it out. It goes on for a while, but yes, that particular wrestling fan not happy about the zombies. Just one example about what Eric was referring to. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention that we didn't get to, this was a story last week that we didn't get to, but it's another radio-related story. Matt Siegel, there's a gentleman named Matt Siegel. Now, people listening online from other parts of the country probably don't know, unless they happen to see this pop up in their newsfeed, probably have no idea about Matt Siegel, also known as Matty in the Morning. And he got into a little bit of a kerfuffle. I know I've already used that word once today, but it's such a great word, and I feel like I'm the only one who says it, even though I'm obviously not the only one who says it because I heard it or I read it somewhere. But Matt Siegel, now he's been on KISS 108, which is, what are the call letters? They call it that because it's WXKS, I think. And KISS 108's been around forever. It's not because they play KISS, my favorite band. KISS 108's more of a top 40 station, pop station. He's been on there. He's been on that station in Boston. So he's well known in this market. He's been on there for 40 years. That is fairly unusual in radio for someone to be at one station for 4 decades of their career. I remember, this is true. You know, I mentioned my dad earlier in the show. I was a fan of Crazy Joe. I'll tell you another quick thing that relates to my father. I remember it had to have been maybe 10 years ago. I was having a conversation with my dad, and he brought up Matt Siegel. And I said to him, you know, something that you know, he was listening to Maddie in the Morning recently, something that Siegel had done or said on the air that my dad liked or thought was funny. And I said to him, I was stunned. I said, Matt Siegel is still on the air? I couldn't believe it. And this was 10 years ago. I was stunned. But yeah, he's been there for 40 years. And he got in a little bit of trouble over something that he said, which, you know, that happens in in radio sometimes. But we'll come back to that in a moment. We have a call. Let's see who's on the line. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
It is one who is attempting to reenact history.
Is this Matt Siegel from Kiss 108?
Siegel, no. Ridley, yes.
Oh, it's Ridley. Oh, it actually sounds like Bitcoin Gandhi.
Also does sound a bit like him, does it not?
It really does. I'm so confused. It's been a very, very confusing day.
Yes, so has mine.
Mm-hmm. Well, how are you, Bitcoin Gandhi, if that is your real name?
I am not the Mahatma, but if we use the Mahatma's methods, we may sometimes achieve some of his results.
I understand. Okay.
Where I'm on
yeah,
day 15 of my march against the Bitcoin raids by federal government officials in New Hampshire.
Yes.
And I have now reached the area of the Concord, what is the city just to the west of Concord?
Oh.
I forget.
Hopkinton?
Hopkinton, yes.
Yes.
Concord Hopkinton border.
Uh-huh.
On our way to the federal building, where I will distribute our grievances on paper in violation of federal regulation 102-74.
Will they be open when you get there? It's already after 5.
This will be on June 2nd.
Oh, you're not getting there until June 2nd.
Correct. In imitation of the Mahatma Salt March, I am taking 24 days and sleeping in the open each night on the way to the location.
Uh-huh. You sleep in the open? You don't even have a tent with you or anything?
I have a tarp.
A tarp. Don't you, aren't you worried about, like, bugs and squirrels and stuff? I mean, personally, I don't even enjoy camping.
Yes, I do not enjoy it that much either, but it feels as though it is something that needed to be done.
Okay, I understand. So you're continuing your march, and so June 2nd you'll be arriving in Hopkinton, and then where from there?
Oh, no, in Concord. We'll be in Concord on June 2nd, and that's where we plan to arrive at the federal building and commit this act of civil disobedience.
Oh, I see. I gotcha.
Correct.
And okay, so then from Concord, where do you go, or is that your ultimate destination on your march?
Well, I will go to Concord some tomorrow, probably, and for a few days we will visit various state bureaucracies, encouraging the workers there and the bureaucrats to reduce their cooperation with the central government.
Okay, very good. And how many grievances do you have to present? You said you have a list of grievances.
I'm requesting, and there's one reason I'm calling, I'm requesting the grievances of the people, that we may have extra copies of them and hand out, well, not necessarily extra copies, but it would be nice to have everyone's grievances, not just mine or the ones that I'm writing for others.
Yes.
However, I am finding logistically it's quite difficult to get pieces of paper to me, and so... we do, I do know that I have written out something for them myself, and other activists have written things down, but they have a way of getting handed to other police officers on the way out, and it's just complicated. And we'll have as many grievances as possible, from as many people as possible. But the main thing we do want to that I am focusing on is complaining about their arrests of the crypto 6.
What other kinds of grievances have people given you?
I haven't looked at them very closely.
Oh.
They've been writing them down and handing them directly to authorities, and it just goes right past me. So I need to, I need to do more, and that's what I'll do now that I have fewer marching to do, less marching to do, is collect more grievances from more people.
Yes. I mean, I would like to contribute a grievance, of course. I would like the government to end the drug war, but I assume that's redundant, and someone has already submitted that. That's a very popular grievance, so I assume that's already on the list of grievances, if you will.
Probably. Would you be willing to mail me something in print?
Well, where would I send it? Because, as you mentioned, that's a bit of an issue.
I shouldn't be handing their address out over the radio, perhaps, but I could give it to you in purpose. I give it to you in private, I should say.
Yes, I don't know if you have access to Facebook Messenger, Bitcoin Gandhi, or perhaps you know someone who does, but I'd be yes.
Not while I'm in the field.
Because I'd be happy to send something if you can find a way to communicate to me where to send it.
Let's work on that. Let's get it done. Because I know you've mentioned that before, and I'm grateful for this grievance that I can pass on.
Yes.
Again, it really is. It's better if it's not too much about me.
Right. Well, you are a larger than life kind of figure, So it.
No, I just look like one this month.
I understand.
But I do believe I have perfected a fairly good imitation of the Mahatma. And if you watch there's a video posted on YouTube at Breaking the Flaw on YouTube, and he has filmed the initial part of our march. And it does look to me like I have got it down.
Good. Let's see. So it's I feel like I've been to that. Breaking the Flaw, that's the name of the YouTube channel?
That is correct.
Let's see. I just want to make sure I have it. Oh, okay. Yep, I found it. Yep, Breaking the Flaw. Oh, yes. Oh, wow. You very much look the part, Bitcoin Gandhi. Wow.
Thank you.
Wow, very nice. Very nice. Good for you. I'm going to there's this video here. I'll share it out to the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page right now. Bitcoin Gandhi, halfway there. Oh, very good. Very good. Good for you. All right. So what else should people know, Bitcoin Gandhi, as far as keeping up with what you're doing? I know there's a website, correct?
Yes, I would request people to send their grievances. Go to bitcoingandhi.net and just post the grievances right there. So it's basically just a glorified link to a web forum.
Oh.
And you can register on the forum and post your grievances publicly, or you can send them to me privately on the forum. Although I am having my computer broke almost as soon as I left, and so I've had difficulty accessing that forum privately. I can still see anything that is posted there.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll be happy to post my grievance there, and I would encourage others to do so as well. And very good. Very good. All right, Bitcoin Gandhi, well, please continue to be safe travels, and good luck with sleeping outdoors. I mean, I hope it doesn't rain.
Oh, yes, I hadn't thought of that.
We have the tarp. All right, my friend. We will talk to you soon, I'm sure.
All right, my friend. Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. All right, the great Bitcoin Gandhi. Yeah, there's this video here. Wow, it's I'll share this to the time is it? I'll share this to the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page here for anyone who wants to see it. He really does look the part. I got to give him credit. He is really truly committed to this. Let me play a little of this. Is he talking in this? Let's see here.
Can you walk with me?
Yes.
This is what we're here for, I suppose.
I was going to try to play some of him talking in the video, but there's too much There's too much noise. But anyway, I shared it out so you can check it out. Let's see. So just to finish up on Matt Siegel, and this won't take long, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll actually come back. We'll be back in the 6 p.m. hour for another hour. But it says here, so Matt Siegel, like I said, he's been on the air for 40 years. He said something about Demi Lovato. Now, if you don't know, Demi Lovato, the pop star, she had a big hit a couple of years ago. What was it, 2-3 years ago, called Cool for the Summer. A huge hit. But she's had others, but that's kind of when I think of Demi Lovato music, I don't, I can't think of really any of her other songs offhand, but I remember that song. That was a big song. But she has come out as non-binary. And so, so I shouldn't say she anymore based on that. I should say they. They have come out as non-binary. So Matt Siegel made some comments about that. And, these issues of gender are pretty sensitive right now, and definitely, in terms of being politically correct about it all. So this is from NBCBoston.com. Here's what Kiss 108's Maddie in the Morning said after threatening to quit. So he basically ended his show saying one day, because he had been told by management. And by the way, I assume this is how it works at Kiss 108. A lot of these stations, they'll have, they call it a red phone. We don't have that here. If something's going on here that somebody's not happy about, which has occurred, I'll typically get a text message. That's why if the conversation ever during the show, say I have a guest and maybe things are going in a direction that I think somebody might get nervous about or be bothered by, if you're watching online, you might see me picking up my phone and seeing if I have any text messages. It's actually happened very rarely. I'm given a tremendous amount of autonomy and trust here by management, which I do appreciate tremendously, and I do not take it for granted. And part of why I don't take it for granted is because of those few times that I have gotten in trouble. But these big stations like Kiss 108, that's a big time station. Matt Siegel's a big time host. He's probably, I'm sure of it. He's got, he makes millions of dollars. So they'll have a hotline or a red phone in the studio, and someone will call from management and say, hey, don't talk about that anymore. Don't keep doing that, this and that. And apparently that happened to him while he was on the air after he made some comments about Demi Lovato. And then so he ended his show basically saying, look, if I can't do this show and say what I want, I'm paid to sit here and say what I think or joke about things. And I'm being told I have to stay away from this now. So maybe it's time to wrap this thing up. And after 40 years, he seemed to quit on the air. Well, apparently he went right back and everything's been smoothed over. So it says here, popular Boston radio host Matt Siegel was back on his Kiss 108 show Thursday morning. Again, this was last week. Like I said, we just didn't get to it. After threatening to quit the day prior, Siegel walked out on his morning show, Maddie in the Morning Wednesday, after he said he was told by station management to stop talking about musician Demi Lovato's announcement that they identify as non-binary. Quote, I did say that I was going to quit. The company reached out to me and said, please don't. We support you and we will not be stopping you from saying what you want to say. So I said, okay, unquote. Siegel then quipped that he was convinced to continue working because his accountant lost all his money and his wife said she wanted a new Birkin bag. The radio host told NBC 10 Boston Wednesday that he would remain with the station he has been with for 4 decades. He said, he'd return out of an obligation to my team, quote unquote, and address what happened on his show on Thursday morning. Quote, sorry to disappoint those of you who are excited that I was leaving, but I'm still here. And that's it. It's going to be good. And I don't want to talk about it anymore, unquote. Siegel told listeners Wednesday that management wants him to be a lightweight show. And if he can't talk about what he's thinking about at this point in his career, he wants out. Again, this goes back to the day prior when, the blow-up happened. Quote, "They pulled the plug on me and they said, 'You cannot talk about what you're talking about.' Again, I like my boss personally. It's not personal, it's professional. So I'm ending my portion of the radio show right now. I don't know. I just want to say I love my listeners. I love you, and it's been a hell of a run, but I think it's coming to an end," unquote. So that's what he said. So at the time, he appeared to quit on the air. But then he was back the next day. So there you go. But, yeah, I mean, we do live in sensitive times. I'm not even sure. Oh, so the original, you know what? I don't have it in front of me, but the original things that he said weren't even, I mean, it wasn't anything particularly offensive, just basically saying that, I don't get it. I don't understand, this stuff, this non-binary stuff. I don't expect a 71-year-old man to, I mean, he didn't say anything to disparage her, I don't think, but, but what he did say did get him into some trouble. Actually, Scott Robinson is in the Facebook live chat and says, "I'm sorry, I just don't get it." Well, I mean, I'm very libertarian on all of that. I think everybody can be who they want, be, in terms of sex or, well, not sex, but gender, which are two different things. Be what you want. You do you, as long as you're not hurting anyone else, I don't care. But with that, I would just say, and a lot of people say transgender activists, for example, would say this as well. You have to be a little bit patient with the people who don't get it and try to educate them a little bit instead of just driving them away, because sometimes, and you see this with all kinds of issues, race and religion and anything that requires quote unquote tolerance. Although I've never liked that word tolerance. I prefer acceptance instead of tolerance. Tolerance has a weird connotation to me. It's like, yeah, I don't really like people who are different from me, but I guess I can tolerate them. I prefer acceptance. But regardless, with the transgender issue in particular, I think sometimes people get very intimidated out of just asking questions about it. People who genuinely want to learn, but they're so afraid of being tagged a bigot. And because there are some people on Twitter, some trans activists who will come down on you really hard if you just, you're just trying to understand and they take it wrong. And then I've also seen, to their credit, other trans activists who will say, we got to stop doing that. We need to be a little bit more patient with people and at least take the time to explain to them about the pronouns and all of that, instead of just, calling people bigots because they don't get it right away, So I think there's a balance there. But, if Demi Lovato wants to be non-binary, more power to them. It takes a little bit to remember to say them instead of her, but, I'm willing to do that. As long as if I slip and say her, no one's going to, she's not going to know. She doesn't know who I am, but hopefully no one's going to come down on me if I make a mistake. That being said, we are at the top of the first hour. It seems very weird to say that at 6 p.m., but if you are just joining us, something a little bit different today instead of 4 to 6, because I was unable to get here on time today due to circumstances beyond my control or really anyone's control, just kind of how the dice tumbled. But I was not able to be here for 4 p.m. So Peter White said, go 5 to 7. Yeah, so we're going to take a break, and then we will come back for hour number 2 from 6 to 7 p.m. today. And I found another, I opened with, because of the weird time thing today, I thought it'd be fun to open with Got the Time by Anthrax. Here's another time song. This is Not Enough Time by INXS. And so we'll play one or two quick things and then show some love to our sponsors so we can pay the bills. And then we'll be back with hour number 2 on this unique edition of Matt Connarton Unleashed. welcome back, everybody. We are well into hour number 2, numero dos of Matt Connarton Unleashed. And if you're just joining us, you might be very, very confused right now. Because I was not able to be here today for 4 p.m., we're doing something a little different. Instead of going from 4 to 6, Peter White was able to approve me to go from 5 to 7. So for today, and only for today, the show is 5 to 7 instead of 4 to 6. So if you're just now tuning in, or hey, you know what? You might be someone who was tuning in right before the top of the hour going, oh, I'm just catching the end of Matt's show. Surprise, got a whole other 49 minutes. So there you go. It's like a bonus if you weren't expecting me to be on for this hour. So I will be here with you until 7 p.m. in the Eastern time zone. I always throw that in the Eastern time zone for people listening online because I know we have listeners in other parts of the country. But here in Manchester, New Hampshire, it is a beautiful day. Broadcasting to you from the WMNH studios, 95.3 FM in downtown Manchester, where it is no longer July. And what I mean by that is it has been very, very hot here. It has been in the 90s, but today I think it's like 70. It's beautiful out today. So I think it's supposed to be nice tomorrow too. So quite a relief. But of course, we are on WMNH 95.3 in Manchester and also on Comcast 97 if you're watching in Manchester, streaming at WMNHradio.org. And, of course, on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. You can also go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all your streaming options. And today is Monday, May 24, 2021. The number to call if you'd like to join us, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can also text me at 617-917-4476. Tweet me at Matt Connarton or send an email to matt@mattconnerton.com. So you have a myriad of ways to reach out. And, of course, you can always interact and opine in the Facebook live chat. But the best thing to do so that we can hear and enjoy your dulcet tones is to call us at 603-250-6007. And I will be here with you until 7 p.m. And I do want to remind you, of course, actually we have a call, but I do want to remind you quickly, we are proudly sponsored by the Hop Knot at 1000 Elm Street. Don't go there today. Monday and Tuesday is their weekend, but they are open Wednesday through Sunday and have a lot of great things happening there. We have a call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, it's Eazy-G. I wasn't planning on calling back, but Tom Blanchard, if he's listening, sent me a Facebook request, and I hit the wrong button.
Oh, no!
Yeah, egg on your face. So if you can send me another one, I'll try to press the right button.
You've got egg on your face, Eazy-G. Egg on your face.
Hey, speaking of Demi Lovato, I don't know if you heard that conspiracy theory. I don't think it's true or not, but, years ago she had that, she almost OD'd on drugs.
Yeah.
Well, the conspiracy theory is that she died, and the person playing her now is an imposter. Have you heard that one?
No, I have not heard that.
I don't believe it, though, but this conspiracy theory is out there.
Well, that's not a new thing. For example, there are people to this day who believe that Paul McCartney is not really Paul McCartney.
I heard that, too.
Oh, there's a whole documentary about it. I mean, it's all BS. Yes, that is really Paul McCartney. And yes, most likely that really is Demi Lovato. But, yeah.
Yeah, I believe it is, too. But there's people out there, to think otherwise, but I'm not one of them.
How do you know, though, Eazy-G? How do you know that I'm really me? I could be an imposter.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Maybe we're all zombies.
Maybe we are all zombies.
Yeah. That guy was pretty mad. I don't get too mad about those things. It's wrestling. It's anything goes.
Dave LaGreca was very angry. He's got a bit of a potty mouth.
Hey, it's wrestling. Get a grip.
But you get upset about wrestling things.
True, but I didn't get mad about this one.
No one tells you get a grip.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All
right, Eazy-G.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. So Tom Blanchard, if you're still listening, you'll need to send Eazy-G another Facebook request because he's got, I'll tell you what, I mean, after a mistake like that, he's got more than just a little bit of egg. He basically shoved his face into an omelet. Can we be honest? All right, Tom says, I got you covered, Easy. Here it comes again. Very good. Very good. But yes, as I was mentioning before Easy's call, we are sponsored by the Hop Knot. They've got a lot going on there. Thursday nights is trivia night with the great Bill Cini. Friday nights, of course, they have Grant Lampton live, providing the live music. Grant is doing a residency there, also known as Mike Sutterth, depending on where he's playing. But he's there every Friday night performing live. They have Sunday brunch. They have some wonderful things coming up for Juneteenth, the weekend of June 19th next month, and we'll be talking more about that in the coming weeks. But great food, great service, and a great family that owns and operates the Hop Knot. And we have another call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Oh, well, this is Charles Richardson. How are you, sir?
Charles Richardson from the Charles Richardson Show, if I'm not mistaken.
I know, yeah.
Yes.
So it just flows off the tongue for everybody.
Yes, yes. How are you?
Confused. So I'm hearing Miss Demi Lovato, which, by the way, she's a very attractive female. And she's going ahead and says that I want to be non-binary.
Yes.
Now, isn't binary some type of science? Is she beyond science or something like that? I mean, do we call her like the missing link or something? How do we, I don't understand this.
Well, from what
Listen,
from what I understand, there's a distinction to be made between sex and gender. So sex, so when you talk about the science of it, male or female, that is sex, but that's not the same as gender. So you can self-identify as whatever gender you want or of no particular gender.
So basically when you go ahead and we're talking about, of course, not the gross stuff, but sex is male or female.
Right.
But gender is one of these thousands of made-up things. Like, she goes ahead and identifies as non-binary. Mm-hmm. I go ahead and identify myself as a suitcase. I mean, is that safe to say we can go ahead and just throw that out there and make me a suitcase?
Well, I would support that, Charles, if you want to be a suitcase. I don't know that it's quite the same thing because a suitcase is an inanimate object. But right. I also, frankly, would be concerned about people trying to stuff clothes into you. And I assume
I would be concerned about that too, because I don't know where else they would put. Well, I don't know where. No, I do know where they would put it, but just
and
just saying now.
I don't know how the zipper thing works, so that might get a little difficult. But to me, I'm like, hey, whatever makes you happy, doesn't bother me. I'll use whatever pronouns. I don't care. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, but Matt, what concerns me is that okay. We're going to go ahead and throw these genders all over the place. Mm-hmm. Then it gets to our schools, which it already has. And I have a 5-year-old going on 6 that's going to be entering the first grade, and I see all these people with, well, I'm just going to go ahead and, I'm going to identify as this person or that person. And it's like, now all of a sudden, all this nonsense, and I'm sorry, I do call it nonsense. Mm-hmm. But I have the nonsense with my kids, and he's going to come home one of these days and says, what's non-binary? What's this? What's that? Like, well, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to be basically a dad to him. I'm going to say, listen, look down there. Do you have, I don't know, the penis? That's acceptable to say, right?
Well, it's an anatomic term, yeah.
Or do you have the other part?
Right.
Whichever part you have, that is the gender that you are. Mm-hmm. I don't understand why it's gone so far, and it's not like we're going. Anybody that feels the way I feel is bashing gays or is looking down upon marriage with the same sex partner or anything of that, or even cross-dressing.
Right.
But it's gone so far now. It's legal, politics, all with this. The whole thing on it. It's just gone too far, Matt. Don't you agree? Or do you think this is just the way society is now?
Yeah, I don't have a big problem with it. Now, I should say, though, I do have and I will acknowledge this, my own bias in this, in the sense that I have the luxury of not having children. So I will never have to have that conversation with anybody. But I think I would just say, though, I mean, what's right? So you have to have that conversation with your son about it. So have that conversation. I mean, what's, you know, what, I mean, it's not as though I would assume, I mean, unless it's something I just haven't seen, it's not like this is some sort of phenomenon that's completely taken over public school, is it? Where everybody's calling themselves non-binary and it's this whole problem? I mean, is it?
I wouldn't say it's massively taken over schools, but you do start seeing it dabbled here and there where it really shouldn't be.
Well,
I mean, okay, let's take this for instance. There was a transgender girl, was a boy, now a girl, that kicked everybody's behind in a golf tournament in school, and that was a girls' golf tournament in school. Mm-hmm. Is that fair?
That gets complicated. I have my own mixed feelings about that, and I tend to be honest with you, not particularly think it's fair. I don't think it's something that's going on. I know there are certain media properties that like to make it sound like this is happening all over the country, and I don't believe that it is. To the point that some politicians are proposing legislation or governors signing bills into law for a problem that, you know, solutions in search of a problem, so to speak. But I don't know. I've read some different things about that, different perspectives. I don't yet have a really solid opinion on that, Charles, to be honest with you. That does get tricky. That gets a little, like I said, I tend to be very libertarian on this, and that my attitude is do what you want. As long as you're not hurting anybody, and you might have to have an uncomfortable conversation with your kids, but I get the impression that's kind of part of the deal anyway of being a parent. Like I said,
true.
I have but like I said, I have the luxury of not having to confront that particular issue with any children, which is, you know, I'm very happy about. I like not having. I mean, don't get me wrong. Fatherhood looks great and everything, but don't you have to like clean them and take care of them and feed them and stuff?
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, they're like the modernized version of having a dog. I mean, except you can't put them in a cage or on a leash.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like everything else you have to do that.
Yeah, there's all this legal stuff too. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. To me, it looks like a lot of work. Who has the time?
I did think I had the time, and actually, after a couple of years of fostering and adopting, and I still don't think I have the time. But it's there. He's there. I have to deal with it. So that's all it is. But
on a serious note, though, fostering and adopting, good for you, man. Good for you. For real.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Kudos.
Thank you very much.
I think that's fantastic.
Well, you know what, Matt? It really came down to the point where the unfortunate part is me and my wife were not able to conceive.
Yeah.
And it was sad, but then we went to the fostering part, and with hopes of adopting. And the rules down here in Florida, sadly, you can't outright adopt anybody under 8 years old, which I find ludicrous.
Really?
But you can, yes, but you can go through the system, foster a child, and hopefully he becomes available for adoption. But you always have that risk that whatever the mom or dad or the other connected family, any point in time, if they see fit, they can go ahead and go right to them. And they can claim them.
Yeah.
That's the thing with fostering. We were lucky enough. We had an insider who says, mom's in jail. They don't want anything to do with them. No sign of dad. Get over here. So it was a clear run. It was a pain in the neck, which I find awful with the foster system. Pain in the neck to go through, but we finally got the deal done. And I'm so glad. I'm so happy for him and so happy for us that he could be in our roof, under our roof. He's been a welcome addition, even though he's a pain. But he's a welcome addition.
No, that's awesome. How long, Charles, did the process take?
So we had him for about a year.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, they had to try to attempt to get a hold of Dad.
Okay.
The biological dad. And the long story short was he raped a 16-year-old. So this came from a rape.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he was obviously avoiding anybody and anybody.
Yeah.
So that was the long-term effect, and he was out of state.
Okay.
So that took it got us angry because we felt like they weren't doing anything.
Right.
So that was another year. Finally, they got them to sign it. It was signed off. We couldn't find them. Adoption day was like a month or two later. But the whole process of trying to go through that legal field of we need to attempt to find the dad. How long do you need to find him? I thought it would be like 30, 60, 90 days. It turns into almost a year.
No kidding.
Are you kidding me?
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy because obviously if you need to work that hard to find the dad, then I think we can count the biological dad out of the picture pretty quickly, I would think. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know something? What if he was still in foster care and he's being held up like that? But you're going to make the kid wait until you've done all this due diligence that I already said it's not going to happen.
Right.
You know, milk cartons, newspapers, you know, it's not going to happen. Just let him go. Let him be free and let him come to us.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. Well, it's good that you saw it through. By the way, do you know what the reason is for, you said you can't adopt under 8 years old in Florida. Do you know what the reason is for that? Or if there's, I'm just curious.
We never really got a clear answer on it.
Yeah.
But that's just the state regulations.
Okay. Yeah. Just wondering. Yeah. It's bizarre. That's got to be.
I'm over here, I'm over here down here with Governor DeSantis, who's opening up the state to everything. You would figure, hey, listen, let's change that foster law.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, I wanted to throw my 2 cents into the Demi bucket and wanted to wish you a good day.
Thank you.
Hopefully more 7 o'clock shows come on because I don't get to listen to you before 6.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to hear me today. Yeah, it's been a strange day, but hey, who knows? You never know. This actually isn't the first time I've been on till 7, so maybe it won't be the last with any luck.
Sounds like a plan. All right, Matt. Thanks, man. Take care.
All right, Charles. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. The great Charles Richardson from The Charles Richardson Show. Charles is live online weekdays. Wednesday, I meant to say, 7 to 9, and Friday as well. Christian Lacoste is in the chat room, and Christian says, hi, Charles. Christian's been on that show, I think, a few times. Tom Blanchard says, I got a problem with girls who used to be boys playing in sports. Yeah, and this has come up. Like I said, I haven't fully formulated my own opinion on it. And it's something you have to be a little bit careful about discussing too, because, you know, Joe Rogan on his podcast, you know, where they have very open discussions where, you know, in theory you can kind of talk these things out. And, you know, he expressed some of that same concern, and then he got called a bigot for it. And it's like, well, wait a minute, you know, it's a little more complicated than that. But I honestly don't have, as far as that specifically, I don't have a fully formulated opinion. But on the other part of it, like I say, I think everyone should be able to self-identify however they want. And I have no problem, you know, respecting that, using whatever pronouns are appropriate. I will tell you, just as a quick aside, though, so a very close friend of mine is transgender. She used to be Matt, and now is Daphne. And hello, Daphne, if you happen to be listening, you know. And a great friend, love her dearly. The one thing about it, though, that is just kind of funny is when Daphne was Matt, I was Matt's best man in his wedding, and now he is she and is Daphne. So it's kind of funny. But Rocky Huber is in the chat room and says, I identify as bacon and tacos. Well, that seems a little selfish, Rocky. I would choose one or the other. Personally, I would go with tacos. Don't get me wrong, bacon is great, but really, what is better than tacos? Although that could be, identifying as any kind of food, I think would be risky, because what if someone comes along and eats you? So you do have to consider that. I mean, if I had to choose between being a food or being a suitcase, as Charles brought up, I might go with the suitcase just because I don't want to be eaten. But we talked about that, too, the day that we were talking about ham hands, and the question was posed to me, would I rather have ham hands, or what was the other one, like bologna hands or something? And I said, well, I'd rather have ham hands, because if I had bologna hands, I don't like ham, so the bologna, I might be tempted to eat it, put some bread on it, and then eat my own hands as a sandwich or something. So these issues that are already complicated, they really get even more complicated once you begin to introduce food. And that's just something that I think we should all be considering when we have these discussions. But give us a call, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. Eric Street says, so how would a pizza pretzel identify themselves? I can answer that for you, Eric Street. If you're talking about the pizza pretzel from our wonderful sponsor, the Hop Knot, they identify themselves as in my stomach. Yes. Oh, yes. They're so good. They're unbelievably good. And I'm not just saying that because they're a sponsor either. As anyone else who has tried the pizza pretzel will attest, they are quite delicious. All right, we only have a half hour left. I was trying to decide a couple different directions we could go. I think I want to, because it won't take long, but I want to check in on this subject. This isn't on anyone's list of top 5 political issues, or probably even top 10 political issues happening right now or at any time, really. But it's important to me, and it might be important to you, and you might just not realize it. And that is Section 230. Reason.com has an article up. Section 230 haters aren't going away. Though Trump is gone, the desire to bend the internet toward partisan goals is alive and well. So just briefly, Section 230, if you're not familiar or if you don't remember me discussing it on the show, it's the part of a law. It's not the law. It's part of the law. Of the Communications Decency Act. I wanted to make sure I got that right. And anyone in broadcasting, anyone who does anything on the internet, and this show, of course, this it's relevant to me because this show is on terrestrial radio, but it's also online, and then we put up the podcast version and it goes out on Facebook and Twitter and social media. So this is all of concern to me, and it should be of concern ultimately really to anyone, though, who not only broadcasters, but even if you're just someone who casually participates in social media. Section 230 effectively, well, here, actually, it says it right here. Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, known to its fans as, quote, the 26 words that created the internet, unquote, shields social media and other digital platforms from legal liability for user-generated content. Although the protection has enabled myriad forms of online expression, it has become bête noire, I'm sure I'm not saying that correctly, for critics on the left and right who are unhappy with the results. Now, before I go any further with this, and I'm not sure how much of this we'll get through, I'm keeping an eye on the time, and it's an unusual time of day for me to be keeping an eye on, so I'm being a little extra careful so I don't confuse myself. But so basically, Section 230 prevents platforms like YouTube, like Facebook, any other social media from being held legally liable, legally or civilly liable, for content that users generate on its sites. So, for example, if someone posts something, say somebody posts something on Facebook, and maybe it's slander, maybe it's libel, maybe it's something that that individual could be sued for. Maybe it's hate speech that offends someone, whatever it may be. Something that may have a legal or civil consequence for. Section 230 prevents Facebook from being held responsible for that. Instead, now the individual user can be held responsible, but Facebook isn't going to be held responsible for what an individual user posts on their own page, on their own on their platform provided by Facebook. Or say somebody makes a video and posts it on YouTube, and there's something libelous or slanderous in that YouTube video. The person who feels that they've been affected by it and has a case, they can't go after YouTube. They can go after the individual in some way. I mean, they can complain to YouTube and maybe YouTube will take it down. Maybe the person will get deplatformed. We've talked about that on this show quite a bit. Again, these are of issues that are of great concern to me as a content creator. But also, like I said, anyone who participates in social media should be concerned to some degree. Section 230 shields these social media platforms from being held liable for what their individual users create and post. And I get very, very nervous at this idea of getting rid of Section 230. By the way, one of the few things that during the 2020 campaign, both at the time President Trump and Joe Biden agreed on, they both want to repeal Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act for different reasons, somewhat different reasons. They have different motivations for wanting to do so, but they both want to do that. That is something they actually agreed on, and I disagree with both of them. I think they're both flat wrong on that. I think it's a nightmare, this idea that you're going to hold these social media platforms legally responsible for what their users post. I think is crazy. And I think is incredibly damaging, and it could be. Some people say this. Some people say, oh, you're overstating it. You're being dramatic about it. I think it could be the end of social media. How do you provide a platform where the users generate the content, and you now, in order to keep your platform from being hauled into court every 5 minutes and being driven out of business, how do you, if you are that platform, now you're not only policing the content, which they already do, right? Platforms like Facebook and YouTube, they have a mechanism where you can report someone for hate speech or for slander or for whatever it is, right? So they can, so they're already, these companies are already policing these platforms, which I think is completely appropriate. And by the way, these companies have the right to deplatform whoever they want to. They're private companies. So if they decide they don't want you on their platform, they have every right to kick you off. Because sometimes, people get MAGA people will say, Facebook is censoring President Trump and they've violated his First Amendment rights. No, they're a private company. Twitter's a private company. They can say, we don't want you on our platform. We don't think your content is appropriate. But how can these companies, if they are going to be held themselves directly responsible for user-generated content, they can't possibly police everything. And when you get into the zone of content that is policeable, if that is a word, to begin with, everybody has different ideas of what's offensive, what's not offensive, what's hate speech, what's not hate speech, what's politically correct, what's politically incorrect. Come on. You can't. These are not things that we can all agree on. So how are these social media platforms supposed to do that? It's an impossible task. You get rid of Section 230, you run the risk of running these companies out of business. And I think it's an incredibly dangerous thing to do. So getting back to the Reason.com article, people who oppose government regulation of online speech hoped Donald Trump's departure from the White House would take a repeal of Section 230 off the table, while President Joe Biden has said he favors repealing the law, and Vice President Kamala Harris has opposed it since her days as California's Attorney General opposing Section 230. Section 230's most zealous critics were Trump and Senator Josh Hawley. Now that both men are standing atop much smaller soapboxes, it seemed possible that Congress would turn its attention elsewhere. No such luck. This is scary to me. No such luck. Between January and mid-March, 7 bills targeting Section 230 were introduced in the House or Senate, sponsored by a mix of Republicans and Democrats. The most ridiculous of these proposals is the Protecting Constitutional Rights from Online Platform Censorship Act. Oh, God. Sponsored by Representative Scott DeJarlis, a Republican of Tennessee. His bill would make it unlawful for web services to remove or restrict access to any content protected by the First Amendment. Facebook would have to permit hardcore pornography. YouTube would have to permit videos of beheadings. Web forums for dog lovers would have to permit long odes to cats or abortion or rutabagas. Understandably, the bill has gone nowhere since DeJarlis introduced it on January 4th. There's another one, the Curbing Abuse and Saving Expression in Technology Act. Sponsored by Representative Gregory Stube, Republican of Florida, errs in the opposite direction. Under this proposal, web services would lose Section 230 protection for allowing or facilitating any content deemed to be indecent, obscene, or otherwise harmful to minors unless the platform could somehow guarantee that no minor could ever access it. There's a little bit more to this, but look, there's also a broader concern that I have. Not only do I think that these other stupid ideas for these laws that both Democrats and Republicans are into, hey, you know what? Let me say this. I'll say one nice thing about all this. At least it's a nonpartisan issue. Isn't that refreshing? Both Democrats and Republicans are working together to totally screw this up and get it all wrong. Isn't that's nice? Kumbaya, my lord. Isn't that great? You know, because it really takes two parties to ruin America, doesn't it? Okay, now I'm getting a little carried away, a little hyperbolic, but it might take both parties to destroy the internet. So there you go. Everybody work together to wreck this whole thing. But there's a broader issue here too. I get nervous. I get a chill that goes through me whenever I hear anybody in government, not even necessarily an elected person, but even unelected people in government, bureaucrats, talking about doing anything involving the internet. Like, I really want them to just keep their hands off of the internet, just in general. Like, leave it alone, unless you're doing something to improve it. Like, it's one thing, you know, you'll hear these people talk about, well, we need to expand access to broadband. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Absolutely. If you want to talk to me about, you have all these ideas to expand access to the internet and make sure that everybody in America has access to the internet because it's absolutely essential to be able to function in this country, great. You go do that. I will support you in that. But I don't want to hear anything about regulating the internet or policing the internet or doing this or doing that or passing this law or that law from anybody in Congress ever, or the president. Because here's the thing. And if you don't think there's a reason to be worried about this is putting aside Section 230, by the way. This is in a much larger sense. If you don't think there's any reason to be concerned about what our elected lawgivers and overlords are always, every year, trying to find some way to damage the internet, if you don't think there's any reason to be concerned, I can tell you how to get concerned. Go on YouTube. Go on YouTube and look up, say, Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook or Jack Dorsey from Twitter or any of these guys from big tech. Go on YouTube and type in one of their names and type in congressional hearing, Senate hearing, whatever. Go on YouTube and find video of one of these big tech people testifying in front of a committee in Congress. And pay close attention to the ridiculous, ignorant, absurd, bafflingly confused questions that our elected lawgivers and overlords ask of these people who are actually out there, who have actually, built the internet for us. And if you pay close attention to this, if you put yourself through the torture of this exercise, you will begin to realize immediately that we have people in Congress who make laws and regulations when it comes to the internet, when it comes to technology, who have no idea what they're doing, who have no clue. You watch, I promise you, you go on YouTube and you look up a Senate committee talking to Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, and you listen to those questions they're asking him and the follow-up questions they ask, and you'll begin to realize that, not to be ageist, but 70 and 80-year-old people are trying to figure out how to make laws about stuff they don't have a clue about, which, by the way, is not uncommon for Congress in probably all aspects of American life, but especially when it comes to the internet and technology. I'm sorry. I don't want an 80-year-old man making decisions about how the internet works. I want them to... Here's what I want. I'll tell you what I want. I want a law that says, unless it has to do specifically with expanding access to the internet in this country, Congress shall make no law or regulation about anything on the internet ever again. I want a constitutional amendment that says they can't do anything to the internet. That's what I want. We must protect it. Because some of these people are really stupid, and they will screw it up, and they just haven't quite found a way to do it yet, but they're trying. They're actively trying. Don't believe me? It's right here in this article. It's right here in this article. These stupid laws these people are coming up with. The Curbing Abuse and Saving Expression in Technology Act. Oh, yeah. There's so many words in there. I'm sure it's super helpful. I'm sure it's something that's going to make everything better, not worse. We have to keep these people away from our internet. I don't want 85-year-old Chuck Grassley from Iowa or whatever, one of those square states. I don't want him making decisions about technology and what goes on social media. Do you? I'm sure he's a very nice man, but I'm sorry. No. Sorry, Senator Grassley. You don't get to make these decisions. You don't get to vote on this. You don't get to ask questions about it. We go take a nap. Just stop. So I get very, very worried. Like the kooky things they come up with. Oh, and the tax it. Oh, they always want to tax it. They want to figure out new ways to tax the internet. Just stop. We don't need that. They've already kind of figured out ways to screw that up, but they're always trying to screw it up even more, so that every financial transaction that ever happens online has some sort of tax attached to it. There's people who want to do that, who think it would be great. Just keep your hands off of it, please. Rocky Huber in the chat says, anyone catch the Trump interview on the radio today? I did not. Rocky also says, I kind of do miss the mean tweets a little bit. I would wake up wondering what the hell the fool in the Oval Office tweeted or said while I was asleep. Now I wake up wondering what the fool we have now forgot to tweet or say. It's not the same, LOL. No, it's not the same. I prefer, though, I have to tell you, Rocky, from my perspective, I'm less anxious when I wake up in the morning. You know what I mean? I'm just a little less nervous at the start of the day. Let's see. We're almost out of time, but let me scroll down. There's just a little bit more to this. Here's another fantastic. See, they've got all these different pieces of legislation. It's almost like they're all standing around the internet going, you attack it from that side, I'll attack it from this side, we'll kill this thing. The Limiting Section 230 Immunity to Good Samaritans Act, sponsored by Representative Ted Budd, Republican of North Carolina, would strip major platforms of liability protection if they fail to make moderation decisions, quote, in good faith. What does that mean? And who decides whether it's good faith or not? There's more. The Abandoning Online Censorship Act, introduced by Representative Louis Gohmert, he's a real winner, Republican of Texas, would simply eliminate Section 230. In the Senate, Democrats have introduced their own totally unworkable proposals. Senator Joe Manchin, who's barely a Democrat, of Virginia, is sponsoring the See Something, Say Something Online Act of 2021, which preserves Section 230 liability protection for social media companies only if they surveil their users and report suspicious activity to a new Justice Department agency. Oh, boy. The Safeguarding Against Fraud, Exploitation, Threats, Extremism, and Consumer Harms Act, which acronyms out to Safe Tech, backed by Senators Mark Warner, Democrat of Virginia, Mazie Hirono, Democrat of Hawaii, Tim Kaine, Democrat of Virginia, and Amy Klobuchar, Democrat of Minnesota, would revoke Section 230 protection for any platform that fails to block, quote, material that is likely to cause irreparable harm, unquote, a phrase the legislation does not define. Oh, boy. Well, we don't want any irreparable harm caused by the internet, that's for sure. Oh, thought we had a call, but they are not there. Jesus. I mean, I guess I admire the creativity, the imaginations of these people. Finally, a bipartisan Senate bill known as the Platform Accountability and Consumer Transparency Act, which acronyms out to PACT, would make it easier for both U.S. regulators and state attorneys general to sue online platform for violating federal civil laws. Trump erroneously believed that Section 230 gave social media platforms a license to suspend the accounts of MAGA Republicans or slap warning labels on their posts. In fact, such discretion is protected by the First Amendment, which allows social media companies to decide what content they want to host and on what terms. Hirono is equally wrong to blame Section 230 for, quote, civil rights and human rights violations, stalking and harassment, and wrongful death, unquote. All of those things remain illegal, and individuals responsible for them can still be held accountable under civil and criminal law. Trump may be gone, but the desire to bend the internet toward partisan goals is alive and well. This stuff freaks me out. It freaks me out. I remember, it was coming up on a decade ago now, but there was this, they wanted to have individual states started doing it, and maybe that's why this no longer comes up federally, but they wanted to, I don't remember who sponsored the bills, but they were trying to basically an internet sales tax. There would be a federal internet sales tax. So literally any purchase made on the internet would be subject to this federal tax. To their credit, both of our senators at the time, and again, this was maybe a little under a decade ago, both our senators at the time, Democrat Jeanne Shaheen and Republican Kelly Ayotte, they issued a rare bipartisan joint statement coming out against the internet sales tax. And a lot of others opposed it too. It was not particularly popular legislation, but it did go away. But then individual states started instituting, which is in some ways almost worse. And I say that from a perspective of someone who, one of the things my business does is online internet retail and shipping to different states in the country. And in fact, we have our new online selling platform we're going to be launching this summer, but I'm not going to promote that here, but other than just kind of mentioning it. But keep your eye on my social media for more details. Anyway, I just want them to keep their hands off the internet. I don't think I'm asking too much. Am I asking too much? All right. Well, we are almost out of time. Thank you all who joined me for this rare 5 to 7 p.m. edition of Matt Connarton Unleashed. If you are joining us late, there was a problem earlier and I was not able to be here at 4 p.m., but the great Peter White, who, not only is he the morning show host here at WMNH, but he's also the program director. I was in communication with him and, he said, go 5 to 7 if you like. So I was given that option and I jumped right on it. So thank you all for joining me and thank you to Peter for helping me with that. Thank you to our wonderful sponsors and everyone who called today and everybody in the Facebook live chat. And if you missed any part of today's show, it will be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org. I might close with this Rocky Mountain Mike song again about Liz Cheney. That's pretty funny. And tomorrow I'll be back the regular time, 4 to 6 p.m. And, that's it for me for now. So I will talk at y'all a little bit later. Bye, everybody.